guys making and equaling Chili Bowl history. We'll talk more about that here in just a few moments. But the track, in my opinion, all day long has just been perfect. The guys down there, Chili Bowl Gravel and everybody else, it seems like they have been just nailing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask much more than what we've seen today. Obviously, you know, the one rework we did have, I know it sucks when it's going to happen to someone, right? It's going to come at a bad time.
Which is what happened to Mac Leopard.
Mac Leopard's run ended, and then obviously so many other people in that, I believe it was F Main that rolled out there after that. But, I mean, that's just the way the cookie crumbles more than anything when you're racing, what, 33 mains today, I think. We're running over 400 laps. It's just going to happen that way. But like you said, for the most part, impeccable, I think. I mean, the racing has been outstanding all the way from the O main to the J main, all the way through.
They've given these guys 2 lanes of racing to work with almost every single feature so far. Also, 387 drivers. That was the end tally as far as entries go. But now, Brian, it's been whittled down to about 80, right? Just 80 guys or so left to try and go for the Chili Bowl crown. Yeah, and they're about 80 of the best you'd expect to be there, right? You know, we're all the way down to only preliminary starters now. What we have C mains left. Those are your top 14 finishers on prelim nights, and it's only going to get more hectic from here, I think, right? The C mains are going to be 15 laps again, top 5 transfers, and those B mains, they're talked about every single year about how anywhere else in the country, those are some of the toughest A mains you'll find, and it's top 7, 20 laps. That's you talk to drivers, that's some of the most nervous 20 laps they run all year. Yeah, it absolutely is. Let's take a look at today's menu because there is not much left as far as the schedule of events goes. Brian just mentioned it, two C mains coming up, 15 laps in those, and is it the top 4 or is it the top 5? It is the top 5. Okay, so top 5 will transfer to the B main, and in the B mains, that's where things really change. Almost a full feature, 20 laps in the Bs with the top 7 going to the tail end of the feature, which is 55 laps the distance and $20,000 going to the winner. No one cares about how much it pays to win. It's all about the driller. Absolutely. That golden guy is what everyone's been chasing for 40 years now. Yep. It's iconic around the whole world. That's what people grow up dreaming about having in their mandal one day. Let's take a look at what is cooking so far today. And as we mentioned, soup has been cooking all day long, especially for 2 drivers that may have made some new fans, and maybe they should make some new T-shirts as well after these runs. Brian, you have all of the numbers on these guys, but Darren Nida in the Dan Beeks number 3 and Mac Leopard in the number 14, they have been talked about all day as Nida went from the O main to the G main, tied the record at the time for plus 69 positions, which is nice, and Mac Leopard then breaking that record later on. He goes from the N main to the F main at plus 73 positions. He was on the track for what, like 6 hours or something? It was around, he was alive for 6 hours, 95 laps. I mean, that is unbelievable. You see Nida making his way through, and this is what we're talking about with the racetrack. These guys, they would not be able to go through 8, 9, 10 mains if the track was not good enough for them to make passes, and Nida did it with his shock ratchet strapped to the car on the left front. It was blown out almost the entire time, and he was still able to drive up through the field several times. Him and Mac Leopard, the other thing was impressive is they were in the same group the whole time through there. Yeah, this is what Saturday of the Chili Bowl is all about. Just turning around at the top of the ramp, thrashing on your car, and going back out and just running all the way through the soup. And I was sitting over in turn 2, of course, where all the rowdies are at, and every time the checkered came out for these 2 guys, it was going bananas over in turn 2. They absolutely loved watching Mac Leopard and Darren Nida make their way up through the field. There were a couple other guys that had some solid runs, like Cody Brewer, right? He had a couple mains he made it through. Cody Brewer made it through 6 mains. Jace Park made it through 6 mains as well. Yeah, so a lot of guys making their way up through there. And so Leopard, give us the numbers, he has the new record, right? Yeah, Mac Leopard, along with Darren Nida, him and Darren Nida now share the most mains in a single day. Those 2 single-handedly changed, the landscape of the alphabet soup history books. You look at Mac Leopard's run here, all the way from the N to the F. That is insane. And what's most impressive, too, is I think winning 4 races. Yeah. That is the most in history as well. So he has all these accolades to his honor now. He made a name for himself. We talked about this with Sunshine all week long. That was plus 73. That broke J.J. Yaley's plus 69 in 2004, 22 years ago when he ran from the F to the podium. That is a really good graphic right there. First to first, 11th to first, 11th to third, 11th to second, 10th to first, 11th to first, 11th to fourth, 14th to second, 17th to ninth. Call me an auctioneer, Brian. That is a really good graphic right there on Mac Leopard's soup run that has now broken the best run by anybody else in Chili Bowl Nationals history. The other thing that's cooking today, is coming up here in just a little bit, and that is the B-Mains. And we're calling them the Matt Wood Racing B-Mains because 5 of their 6 cars are going to be taking their chance and I think there's 3 in B-Main number 1 and 2 in B-Main number 2. And their other car, Austin Wood, is in the C-Main with a good chance to make it into those B-Mains as well. Yeah,
I would love to if we can get a heart rate monitor on Matt Wood, maybe Shane Golobic as well. Yeah. I mean, he's got to set all these cars up, go out and race against them. It is nice, obviously, the top 7 transfer. You kind of have a little bit of buffer, especially as well as they laps. 20 laps. Yep. They all ran so well that they're starting near the front. I think in one of the B mains that they start 1-3 or 1-3-5. Yeah, they're the entire inside line. So it's going to be interesting to not only see how many they can get in the A main, but also how they race each other, I think. Yeah, remember Matt Wood Racing, they had a third place, and 2 fourth places, and then Austin Wood was, I want to say, 10th or 11th on his night. So they are going to be very interesting to watch when it comes to these B mains later on in the racing program. The final thing that we have for what's cooking is those treacherous track conditions. During that pole shuffle, there was many guys getting up on the bike, ringing the bell on the handlebars there, almost flipping over, just all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. I saw, Hank Davis got on the bike and blew the Nerf bar into the left rear tire. Blake Hahn, he got up on the bike a couple times. We even saw Christopher Bell try and run the bottom there to try and avoid from making those types of issues. He got through, I think, one of those pairings, but then he got beat by Blake Hahn. But treacherous conditions during the pole shuffle, which I like to see. I'd rather see them do that than go out there, rework the track, and be Mach 1 and be easy to run around. Oh, I 100% agree. Yeah, it's incredibly entertaining pole shuffle as far as seeing how they attack the track. It was interesting to see Bell dart to the bottom and pick up so much speed. You saw it last year. I think Larson biked up huge, almost wadded thing up. I think a couple years ago Spencer Baston did. He did, yes. It was a mad thrash to even get ready for the A main. So it's always interesting to see, honestly, how hard they kind of do push it, knowing that we have to run 55 laps later. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out for later on. That pole shuffle was very, very fun to watch. Let's take a break here on the Chili's mid-race show. We'll bring Tony Laporta back in and we'll listen to Brian Walker about some of his triple dipping stats before we get into the final portion of the 40th annual Chili Bowl Midget Nationals.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Eibach Road Truck Lift Stage 3R. Proudly made in the USA. Designed for the most rugged and demanding off-road trails. Featuring front 2.5-inch coilovers and rear 2.5-inch reservoir shocks. Developed to provide maximum traction, consistency, and control off-road and on-road.
The 3 for Me, only at Chili's, keeps getting even better with the Big QP, and all this for just $10.99. With 85% more beef, it makes a quarter-pound burger look tiny and, well, yeah, tiny. This Chili's 3 for Me is the best $10.99 you can eat.
Tickets are on sale now for the 10th Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Sunday, June 7th features 3 huge races. The USAC Classic, Firestone Indy Next, and the only Sunday night prime time NTT IndyCar Series race. Enjoy a weekend of cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. The stars of the Indy 500 are coming to St. Louis. Get your tickets now and save big at WWTRaceway.com.
Racers don't slow down, and neither do we. At Factory 14, quality products, proven performance, and unmatched service come together under one roof. Our showroom is packed with everything for junior sprints to sprint cars, all ready for race day. Our race team and development program are shaping the future of this sport. And with professional trackside support across the country, you're never alone, you're part of our team. One team, one standard, always accessible. Factory 14, excellence in every detail.
Impact Race Gear is your source for custom race shirts. We are certain that you will see the same things that hundreds of racetracks, teams, organizations, and manufacturers have already discovered. When it comes to quality and service, we simply can't be beat. We are not one of those here today, gone tomorrow print shops. Impact Race Gear has been trusted for years by racers all across the country. Give your fans and sponsors what they deserve. Simply awesome race shirts. Visit us online at impactracegear.com to learn more and start your order today.
The biggest night in pavement late model racing history.
This is our Daytona 500.
It's the biggest race of the year.
Destiny fulfilled! This is the biggest race I've ever won.
The best dirt late model series in America.
The Chili's mid-race show continues on. I made up the new name, so I can't exactly say it right. We've been saying pre-race show all day long and all week long. But here it is. We're back on the Chili's stage. Tony Laporta's back up here after making his way through the infield and back up here to the pit area. And Tony, you have been here along with Brian Walker since the crack of dawn. I am not going to pretend like I was. I got here around maybe noon or so, watched Darren Knight and Mac Lepper make it through a couple of mains, but you've been here all morning. What's it been like watching those two guys and the rest of the action on the track? And, with these fans, I mean, they were here super early, of course, and they have been absolutely pumped up watching those guys.
Well, I appreciate that honesty. Thanks for just getting out in front of it. I'm glad you are here. I wish you would have been here this morning because, yeah, you're right. It was amazing. I've actually been able to hang out up in the PA booth here at the Tulsa Expo Raceway. It's no booth. We're just at the very top level of the grandstands. But Brian Holbert, Randy Ward, and I have been treated to some great on-track action, as so has everybody who's been watching live on Flow. But you're right. The thing that has set it aside, and this is why I encourage everybody to watch it live on Flow, but then come and take it in live in person, is because the people that make it what it is.
Well, we have got the flag ceremony, the very well-known Chili Bowl Nationals flag ceremony going on right now, so that means let's go downstairs to Brian Holbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tulsa. The 40th running of the Chili Bowl Nationals powered by NOS Energy Drink. Ladies and gentlemen, the start of this event, the experiment that it was, has grown into something that the Hahn and Edwards families could have never imagined. A little over 40 drivers in attendance to this event in year one. So this year receiving 407 entries. The first time this event has ever received more than 400 entries. And a record-breaking 387 of those entries confirming they were here to compete. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, a round of applause for all the drivers who checked in to race this year. And on that, a thank you and a round of applause to the Hahn and Edwards families for their vision of a race here in Tulsa to be what it is today. Lanny, Fuzzy, Beverly, while gone, would be so proud to see what their families have done. To Emmett, Donna, Steve, to Emmett's grandchildren, all who are involved with this event, thank you from all of us and all of the fans for what you've done. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take this time, as is tradition, to introduce the drivers who have made their way from over 35 states and 6 countries to be with you here tonight. We begin, ladies and gentlemen, by welcoming the drivers from Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the drivers of Canada. Please welcome the driver from the Netherlands. From Downway, welcome the drivers of New Zealand. Please welcome the drivers of the United Kingdom. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome the drivers of the United States. Please welcome the drivers of Alaska. The home of Rebels. Welcome the drivers of Alabama. The natural state. Welcome the drivers of Arkansas. From the home of the Western world, it's the drivers of Arizona. Where they play on Turkey Night, it's the drivers of California. On that Denver high, it's the drivers of Colorado. From the original 13, the drivers of Delaware. Dirt Games and Winter Dirt Games and Dirt Car Nationals reign in the state of Florida. Where they hold the biggest sprint car race in the land. It's the drivers of Iowa. Please welcome the drivers of Idaho. From the land of dirt miles, the drivers of Illinois. Where non-wing racing, USAC, and the Indy 500 reign supreme, it's the drivers of the Hoosier State of Indiana. From just up north, welcome the drivers of Kansas. They might have bourbon in that fuel cell. It's the drivers of Kentucky. They brought us the Ragin' Cajun. It's the drivers of Louisiana. Please welcome the drivers from Massachusetts. Please welcome the drivers of Maryland. Where they built the horsepower and brought it to all. It's the drivers of Michigan. The land of lakes, the drivers of Minnesota. From down south way, welcome the drivers of Mississippi. where they want to show you something, the drivers of the Show Me State of Missouri. Welcome next, the drivers of Montana. Where they ran moonshine through them hills, the drivers of North Carolina. Please welcome the drivers of North Dakota. The home of the photo bomber himself, the drivers of Nebraska. The home of Unser and Herrera. Ladies and gentlemen, the drivers of the land of enchantment, New Mexico. Where they play at the King's Royal, the drivers of Ohio. When you talk about sprint cars, you put respect on the name of the posse. It's the drivers of Pennsylvania. Welcome next, the drivers of the Rushmore State of South Dakota. The land of Swindell and the home of drillers, it's the state of Tennessee. Just the other side of that Red River, it's the drivers from Texas. From up Dirt Cup Way, the drivers of Washington. Kurds, race cars, and shirtless Nate, the drivers of Wisconsin. As the teams make their way in, the Frisbees fly. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the drivers from the home of the Chili Bowl forevermore, from the Sooner State of Oklahoma! So as the drivers toss a few more Frisbees up into the crowd, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the Grand Marshal of the 40th running of the Chili Bowl Nationals, powered by NOS Energy Drink. He is a two-time champion of this event. He is a USAC Triple Crown titleist, a NASCAR champion, an IndyCar champion, an NHRA champion. I'm pretty sure you want a stick horse race somewhere too. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Smoke Tony Stewart! Your contribution to motorsports goes so much further than this building. The purchase of Eldora, what you've done with your career to expand the viewership of this event, NASCAR, sprint car racing, and drag racing, and now returning to the Truck Series to compete at Daytona. Thank you on behalf of the Honda and Edwards family, and thank you for representing this great event.
Thank you. It was this event that helped catapult our career. Obviously, we had made it to the NASCAR and IndyCar level, but having the opportunity to race here at the Chili Bowl and the notoriety that we got winning in 02 and 07, that was something that was really huge in my career, obviously. So, this event's always meant a lot to me. It means so much to everybody here, and it's not because the teams, it's not because the drivers, it's about these people and these race fans that come here. It's the atmosphere that we get every year. This is literally the biggest race week of the calendar year for so much of us here. So to get us all here at the same time and to see the friendships and relationships we have with a lot of these race fans that we see once a year, those are things that you can't replace.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause for our Grand Marshal, Mr. Tony Stewart. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another driller to present here tonight. Without the partnerships with the state of Oklahoma, from the very top levels of the state to the regional to the local level, events like the Chili Bowl and racing around this state simply would not continue. It would not exist. So tonight we are honored to bring up to the stage, as this event is truly a unique one among motorsports. It is attended by all walks of life. The pool of competitors is just as deep as its fans. The growth of this event over the last 40 years has been in part of those partnerships, and it is with great honor that we welcome the Governor of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt, and thank him for his support of motorsports in this great state. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Governor of Oklahoma. And just like any good governor, he's hiding among the people. He's out talking to the people. He's doing his job. Governor Stitt, if you'll come up here. You represent the people of Oklahoma. It is the people's house for the people of Oklahoma. And this here is the people's golden driller. Thank you for your support of motorsports in this state.
Oh, man, thank y'all so much. It's so great to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight at the Chili Bowl. We're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great race. Thank you so much for this trophy.
Thank you very much. Again, a round of applause for our state's governor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would ask at this time, if you have not, that you would please rise for tonight's invocation and national anthem. Rowdies, it's time to be a little less rowdy. It is time to honor this great nation. It is time to pray. And before we get to our prayer, we would like to have a quick moment of silence. If you race, you know Smiley's Racing Products. The namesake and the founder of that company was asked back to the Lord's house yesterday. Smiley Sitton was an ambassador of the sport and a pioneer. And with that, we would ask you to give a moment of silence and a silent prayer for his family in their time of loss. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome pastor of Rhema Bible Church in Broken Arrow, Pastor Kenneth Hagin.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for this great week of racing. We thank you for all the things that you have given unto us so that we can have a great life. But Father, we pray for any of those that were injured during this week. I thank you that you would protect them and help them and give them a quick recovery. I thank you for all of those serving in our military tonight. Father, I pray that you'd bless them wherever they are in the world. Thank you for this great crowd. I pray that you'd bless everyone in these stands. Bless all the crew chiefs and the crew members. Bless all of the drivers and all of those that work on the infield. We thank you for this great week of racing, and we give you all the praise and the glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's go racing, guys.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a tradition 36 years. And in those 36 years, the same trumpet, the one he has used since junior high. To perform our national anthem, please welcome Kenny Kelch. The drivers stand before you. Expo officials stand before you, the staff. We gave a round of applause for the drivers, these staff, these safety officials that run into harm's way to protect our drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for these brave men and women. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to send him back to the pits. We're going to call him to staging, and we got to know, are you ready for the Chili Bowl? Bowl.
Couldn't have said it better myself, right? I don't know if Brian Holbert does any voice warm-ups before he does that, but every single year I am very impressed because there is no way that I could do what he just did right there.
He does voice warm-ups. He's been calling features since about 9 o'clock this morning.
And all week.
It's a pretty good warm-up, yeah. Oh, he does such a good job at electrifying this place, and man, what else can you say? It's time to go racing.
It really is. We have the C-Main cars going to be called up here very soon to the staging lane, and then we'll be in the final chapter of the 2026 Chili Bowl Midget Nationals. But opening ceremonies every single year here. It's the flag ceremony. Brian Holbert doing his thing down there. The governor being here, of course. And the reason I mentioned the governor is, I heard a couple years ago, and I'm sure that this number has been inflated since then, but I've heard that this event brings multiple millions of dollars to the Tulsa area, and I'm sure the governor loves that, right?
Yeah, and the whole Tulsa economy too, I'm sure, between hotels, restaurants.
Well, it's not even just Tulsa. I mean, surrounding towns end up getting booked out.
Everything. It's a huge deal, and I think that just goes to show you. A couple of years ago, they signed like an extension to keep the Chili Bowl here in the Expo for a long time to stay, and it shows you how big this event is to this entire city, county, state, really everyone here.
Well, I joked during the PA earlier today. We had the mayor from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma here. I think it was either last night or probably was last night on Friday during Military Appreciation Night. And the mayor from Broken Arrow gets up to present a service member and their family with something pretty cool. But before she even begins, she goes, "Man, do I wish the Chili Bowl was held in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma every year, just because of the impact economically, socially, that it has on the town." But you know what I loved was watching Kyle Larson ride around in the bed of that pickup truck during the national anthem. One, what a cool tradition. Two, you got to wonder what's going through his head. And three, he's probably just taking one more last really good look at that track surface to make sure he knows what he needs to go back and tell Paul Silva and Trevor Canales for those last perfect little tweaks on that car.
And we know that he is going to roll off from the pole, Brian, next to Emerson Axman after the pole shuffle.
By the way, Kenny Kelch's anthem.
Oh,
I had to get that in there, man.
Yeah.
That incredible every year. Yeah, the pole shuffle. We know it's Larson, Axum on the front row. Little battle of Paul Silva versus Kevin Swindell. Logan's third? Is it Blake Hahn fourth? I think. Christopher
Logan.
Bell.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
It is a stacked couple of first rows for the feature. We'll talk more about that, and we'll talk more about some triple dipping stats when we come back here on the Chili's pre-race show.
There's a moment behind the wheel of what I've built where power overrides gravity, and I hit that zero moment. Zero doubts, zero fear, zero competition. No rule or mold I can't break. And limits, absolutely zero. And there's enough zero sugar to get me there.
Please hold. This will only take 24.67 seconds. In this arena, there's no margin for error. Every component has one job. Perform when it counts. Precision, strength, consistency, maximum performance development.
Racecar Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Racecar Engineering, 800-882-7231.
The fastest growing name in the motorsports industry is the Racers brand of safety gear and apparel.
source for custom race shirts. We are certain that you will see the same things that hundreds of racetracks, teams, organizations, and manufacturers have already discovered. When it comes to quality and service, we simply can't be beat. We are not one of those here today, gone tomorrow print shops. Impact Race Gear has been trusted for years by racers all across the country. Give your fans and sponsors what they deserve. Simply awesome race shirts. Visit us online at impactracegear.com to learn more and start your order today.
We are just minutes away from the C-Mains getting underway. Wasn't sure if my microphone was working, but it definitely is now as you take a look at the jam-packed parking lot outside of the SageNet Center. Every single one of those cars coming in here hoping to be just as entertained as they have been every single night this week. The 55-lap feature is coming up here in just a few minutes' time. We're hearing the call over the PA system to get those C-Main cars up. Before those guys get on track, though, Brian, we've got some more of the triple dipping stats, and the first one we're talking about here are the winning crew chiefs that are going to be have another shot to add their name to the list of Chili Bowl winners.
Yeah, the drivers, always get all the fanfare, and rightfully so, but I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk about the brilliant brains behind all the cars tonight, especially at the front of the field. You have Kevin Swindell, who's won 9 drillers in this building. Paul Silva's won 3 with Kyle Larson. Brian Kimenau has been a part of 1 with Christopher Bell. Chad Boats won 5 at the Tulsa Shootout and wants his first at the Chili Bowl. And they're all wrenching on guys that can absolutely go out and win the Golden Driller tonight, Tony.
I don't know if he considers himself a crew chief. Was Alex Bowman on that list?
I did not include him just on this list because I'm talking about Golden Driller winners. Right, but yeah, Alex Bowman, Matt Seymour, Blake Hahn working on his own stuff.
Well, I mean, regardless of whether he calls himself a crew chief or not, again, it's a big deal that Alex Bowman Racing has locked 2 cars in and not even having to worry about C's or B mains today. So that's exciting. But yeah, what a group of talented crew chiefs that are setting these race cars up. Everybody you named is worthy of being recognized, but Kevin Swindell as a driver and now in the second part of his career as a crew chief, it's really tough to bet against that guy.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, him and Bowman have the best chance when it comes to the amount of cars they have in the show at this point in time, with Axum starting 2nd and CB 4th, and then you got Leary back there in 10th, and then Briggs Danner starting in the 7th position as well. So they have the best chance when it comes to the amount of cars out there on the track in the feature event. Brian, the next triple dipping stat, and I've always been told this for everything in life, the best offense is a good defense. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so actually I was talking to Kyle Larson about this last night on the Victory Lane stage right before the Friday night A-Main, and he was talking about how he really feels he needs to draw the 1 for the pole shuffle. He eventually did.
Right.
Goes out, beats Emerson Axum, so he is on the pole. And the point in this, the last 2 years, Kyle won last year. The year before was Logan 2nd. They led every lap. First time in Chili Bowl Midget Nationals history that's happened in back-to-back years. And, I mean, it goes to, I know we hope the trend doesn't continue. We want a really exciting race with multiple different leaders, but it shows you how important getting the right starting position and getting out in front is.
Right, but you and I were just talking about, before we went live here on the Chili's Chili Bowl pre-race show, about the fact that drivers have come from outside the top 10 to win this race before. Heck, in just our qualifying nights, twice this week, we've seen a driver come from 8th on the starting grid. They've given them a very wide racetrack when it gets to the end of the night here inside the SageNet Center. I think they'll continue to chase that goal when we get to the 55-lapper. I get it. 55 laps is a lot different than 30. It's very different to prep a racetrack to survive that with 24 cars out there. But also, the best offense is a good defense. But once you're in the lead, you're not going to be playing defense for long in 55 laps. You're going to be going back on the offense against lap traffic when you get to them. So offense, defense, it's going to be elbows up, and people are going to be throwing hands pretty quick once this thing goes green.
To be honest, I would be quite shocked if somebody led all 55 laps with what we have seen this week. Every single race has had 3 different leaders. I think on Monday or Tuesday there was 3 unofficial lead changes. There was 2 different leaders in that one as well. But I would be pretty shocked. I mean, if history repeats itself throughout the week, this 55-lapper should see at least 1 or at least 2 leaders, I would have to think. And the final of those triple dipping stats, more laps, more drama. Last year they tried something and went to 40 laps for the final A-Main. They have now switched that back to 55 laps, and so it is going to be a long way, almost 2 features for what we've seen all week.
Yeah, 55 laps is a long time. You add on 15 laps to what we had last year, and I was doing a little digging. So since the Chili Bowl has been over 50 laps, or beyond 40, I should say, there's been a lead change that decided the Golden Driller 9 times in that span. So, I mean, that really shakes things up. There's been 3 instances in the last decade, including 2 pretty iconic ones with Christopher Bell snubbing Kyle Larson.
You know, listen, first of all, the reason it's 55 laps is to honor Donnie Ray Crawford. So that's a great thing in itself, right? That's a cool way to memorialize someone who was a big part of this event and the Tulsa Shootout. So I'm not knocking that. Maybe this will be an ice cold take. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I don't think anybody really worries about what I think. But I was a fan of the 40-lap feature last year. And simply because it felt like they were able to do different things with the track prep. And the first 15 laps or so wasn't spent racing in really heavy track conditions, right?
I agree.
Now, okay, but I'll play devil's advocate. 55 laps after it burns off, you still have a lot of great racing laps ahead of you. So I'm not saying it needs to be 40 or it's always been perfect at 55. I'm just saying that last year I liked that they changed something. I didn't hate the results, but I talked to a few drivers in the weeks leading up to this event, and several of them expressed the thought that big races are usually the ones that stand out in different ways, like lap count. So when you have a long race, it makes it feel like a big event. That's probably worth something if the drivers who are out there competing for it feel that way.
And remember, Tony, we had Kyle Larson on the High Limit Room podcast not too long ago, and he said that, the 40-lapper just felt too short. It didn't feel like it was long enough to be one of these huge races that everybody talks about.
It's probably Kyle that I'm thinking back to, but I had calls with other drivers that expressed that same thought that, hey, this is a huge race. This is one of the biggest races in the world. It should be longer. It should be different. It should be a test of stamina and setup and mental agility and all those things. So I'm not saying it's better one way or the other. I just know that I liked that they tried something last year.
Well, it is back to 55. It's going to be a long one when it comes to the A-Main here in just a few hours' time. Saturday's Soup Run here at the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals came with a lot of the bottomless chips and flips as the flip count has ballooned to 64. We'll take a look at some of those crashes after this break here on FloRacing. The Chili's Chili Bowl Nationals pre- and post-race show is brought to you by Chili's and the Chili's 3 for Me, the best $10.99 you can eat. Let's jump into some of the bottomless chips and flips. I made a mistake there right before going to break. That flip count was 64 from the Chili Bowl Nationals official Twitter account. That did not include the Sunday practice, and so the actual number is 78. So 78 flips throughout the week of the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals with that Sunday practice, and we have had 24 here today. Early on this morning, we have had cars getting up and over. The breakdown, 8 on Sunday, 3 Monday, 10 Tuesday, 7 Wednesday, 12 Thursday, and now 24 here today. And you're looking at a couple of them right here. Ooh, that was a tough one, as you're going to see this type of stuff early. man, that was a big one. I want to say that was Jack Wagner getting upside down in a huge way.
Chase, these guys were getting upside down and flipping before you even flipped out of bed this morning.
You're you're correct. Without question, is we got another issue here.
It was a lot of that kind of issue, right? Because in the really, really early mains, there were just some drivers that had not super reliable mechanically reliable cars. So sometimes guys would just stall out going down a straightaway, and then cars behind them had nowhere to go. And you saw several incidences.
And there's a couple of these wrecks were from yesterday as well. We saw Brian Strain's huge crash as well. And there was Stark getting upside down. And there is the 17 car as well. A lot of high flyers, and it seems like most of the high flying ones right here in this part of the racetrack on the front straightaway. Gavin Miller getting upside down in a huge way yesterday. We hope that he's all right. And then Steven Snyder Jr. got a piece of that one, battling inside the top 5. And then after the race, the checkered flag, it came out. Jesse Love, we saw an important update from him on Twitter earlier on today. He is okay after that wild incident. There's one up into the catch fence on the front straightaway as well. And Sammy Swindell's tough week continued on here early this morning.
That right front shock just exploded on him when he leaned down to go into the corner. And it was wild. That was early this morning.
Saw TJ Stark get upside down there. Here's another one. Up and over in turn number 4. The front straightaway. A couple of incidents here, just trying to get to the green flag.
Here's that issue I'm talking about. That's Rylan Gray, I believe, just coming in flying hot with nowhere to go. Barriers to his outside. Car stopped right in front of him.
Michael Facino with a problem here. The car broke, and Wesley Smith with nowhere to go down the back straightaway. He gets caught up, goes upside down. The bottomless chips and flips. There have been plenty of them, and that's why it's called the bottomless, because we're probably not done seeing cars.
It never runs out.
We're probably not done seeing cars getting upside down here tonight. Now let's take a look, of course, at the past Chili Bowl Midget Nationals champions, names that are etched in history forever. Kevin Swindell looking to add one as a car owner once again here tonight with Emerson Axon and Logan Seavey, but he has done it 4 times himself as a driver. You've got Brian Clausen, of course, the late, great BC. He won it back in 2014. Rico back-to-back in 2015 and 16, and then 3 in a row for Christopher Bell between 2017 and 2019.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the first thing I think, and then you see Tanner Thorson picking up one in 2022 with Ryan Bolt Underwood Motorsports. Kyle Larson sprinkled his first one in there before that. Came back with Paul Silva in 2025 last year, and in between, Kevin had that reign with Logan Seavey as an owner. What I think about when I think about these guys winning their drillers is the first time they do it, and the emotion, and just the scene in Victory Lane. There's confetti everywhere, and just people are crying.
I was saying tears.
Oh yeah,
it's confetti and tears.
Yeah, it's an incredible sight down there, and it shows you how special this is to everyone. People spend their entire lives chasing a dream of winning the driller.
Tony Stewart got out of the car in 2002, so it was the biggest win of his life. In so many words. Kyle Larson gets out of the car in 2020, looks at the camera and says, "I'm sorry NASCAR, I'm sorry Daytona, but this is the biggest effing win of my life." That's what this place means. And you're right. When you see the emotion of a first-time winner, not like it ever gets old.
No.
Logan Seavey was on record as saying that earlier this week. It never gets old. But those first ones, man, because you just want it so bad. You don't know what it's going to feel like, and you don't know what it's going to look like when that spotlight hits you and you climb out of the car. That's what every one of these drivers are living for who haven't done it before, and the ones who know how good it is, they know how bad they need to get back to there.
And there's a lot of guys in the top 10 already in the main event that are looking to do just that. Emerson Axsom's on the list, of course. Blake Hahn, Dason Pursley, so close to the win last year. Just finishing second to Kyle Larson, Briggs Danner, Hank Davis, Justin Grant, CJ Leary. All of those guys already in the A main looking to get that feeling of being a winner of this event. You mentioned Tony Stewart there as well. He was quoted in an interview earlier this week saying that I was afraid to say it back in the day. I wanted to win. The Chili Bowl was bigger to me than the Daytona 500, which is absolutely incredible to hear from Smoke. We know that he has the background in dirt racing, but that quote really sparked a lot of talk on social media.
And he listed the reasons, right? At Daytona, you're beating 40, back then 42. These days, 39, 42 back then of the drivers you see all season long, right? Here, it's close to 400 drivers that some of them you may have never even heard of. I did research on Tony and his wins, and he talked about the minute the heat race lineups would come out when he was racing here in this building, he'd go through the pits and talk to anybody who might know the other drivers in his heat race to learn about who else he was going to be competing with, to know, does this guy take off? Is he good on the top? Is he good on the bottom? He referenced it and compared it to like how a professional bull rider might study the bull he's about to get on. Tony Stewart went out of his way to find out what the other drivers in his heat race would do, something that our post-race co-host, Tyler Courtney, I think, is very good at as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's been great to have Tony here as the Grand Marshal and saying so many good things about this event. Brian, you have some interesting things here that you were talking about before we got back live here. Of course, being the Chili Bowl Rookie of the Year is a pretty big deal. It's kind of like the Knoxville Nationals Rookie of the Year. And there are still, 5 rookies left alive here as we approach the C mains?
Yeah, we have 5 left, and you're going to see 4 of them pretty quick off the bat in the C mains. Jacob Boxell starting on the pole of C main 1. Austin Wood and his Matt Wood car is in there starting 7th. Colton Robinson and Keith Coon's entry will be in the 2nd one starting 6th. And Gage Weldon's also back there starting 13th. That one takes top 5. But all eyes are on Jet Barnes, too. He's starting outside pole of
Great
B-Main
chance
2.
to make it.
Great chance to not only be the Rookie of the Year, which is a big deal in itself, but make the Chili Bowl Midget Nationals A main
at 14.
At 14 years old.
Jet Barnes was fun to get to interview down in Victory Lane on the House PA mic. But I really have been impressed by Jacob Boxell. He was down on the ramp. When did he run? Monday?
Monday, yes.
So he was down at the bottom of the ramp talking with Four Kings Racing crew chief, driver, kind of co-leader, I guess, Matt Westfall. And I've sang Westfall's praises already on this show. Boxell was an easy-to-talk-to young man. He seemed like he was switched on, but not to that point where he's in some kind of crazy zone and he won't speak to anybody he doesn't know. So I like Jacob Boxell. I didn't know a thing about him before we came into the SageNet Center this week, and I've learned a little bit more about him. And the Four Kings Racing group has done a good job making Boxell and the rest of their drivers feel very comfortable. Again, I love the quote Kevin Thomas Jr. told me. He said, this team at Four Kings has made me enjoy midget racing. Probably, I'm ad-libbing here, but probably for the first time in his career. KTJ has long been a proponent of not being a midget guy.
Yeah, he's said that several times, along with a couple other guys we've talked about throughout this week. But everybody is a midget guy when it comes to the Chili Bowl Nationals. There's no doubt about that. You can't be anything else when you're in this building. But it sounds like we are about ready to get cars on the racetrack here very, very soon. Again, we would like to say thank you to all of the FloRacing 24/7 viewers that have been watching on Prime Video all week long. We appreciate your support. We need you to flip over to the Flo Sports app underneath the FloRacing to check out the rest of the program. Thank you all so very much for watching the Chili's pre-race show. All 3 of us will be back for the Chili's post-race show after tonight's 55-lap main event, along with Sunshine Tyler Courtney to break everything down. We'll go to break, and when we come back, it's time for C-Main action.